Hey guys, before we get started, we just want to remind you that we are still doing our giveaway for your chance to win the Undertaker 21-in-1 Streak Coffin DVD set. This is a really cool collectible item. For details on how to enter, all you have to do is go to bytethat.com/BTGemmer. You sign up on Gemmer, make an account, upload any collectible item, and that enters you into the contest. So go to bytethat.com/BTGemmer and follow the details there to win yourself an awesome collectible Undertaker 21-in-1 Streak DVD.
On this episode, we react to WWE's Roadblock special event, Lana in a feud with Brie Bella, Y2 AJ being a thing, Undertaker segment with Vince McMahon, and more now on Byte That. Hey gang, what is going on? You're listening to episode 132 of Byte That's weekly wrestling podcast, the place where we talk about the latest occurrences inside of the World Wrestling Entertainment. Thanks for tuning in and checking out the show. Remember, we are available every single Tuesday night on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, ByteThat.com, and for this and tons more, head on over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ByteThatCast. And if you like the show, if you'd like to support us, you maybe have been listening for a couple of months, do us a favor, leave a review on iTunes. It is highly appreciated. It is the best way that we can just get the word out. You are our advocates. You guys and gals are our collective Paul Heymanses of the universe. With that being said, my name is Juan Velas. I am from San Juan, Puerto Rico, and joining me as always for the podcast episode that almost didn't happen. This has been quite the train wreck just to get here right now, folks. Is Ryan McNulty from Boston, Mass, and Keith Poshik from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Keith, can I hear you?
Blah. Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay, this podcast is happening.
We are literally hanging on by a thread right now. It can go wrong at any moment. So let's talk about some dang wrestling before the world explodes.
But before that, is anyone else thirsty? Because I'm a little thirsty right now. I'm gonna have myself.
Does Ryan McNulty also have a Mountain Dew Kickstart?
Mountain Dew Kickstart, Meggle. It's
well, how convenient that I also have.
It's I just spilled it. Oh my god.
You know, guys, I've been thinking about getting into soft drinks again. Are you telling me that Mountain Dew Kickstart is the way to go?
You know,
it's got electrolytes.
From the mouth of JBL, Michael Cole, and Jerry Lawler, I think it is the way to go. And I cannot recommend enough the fruit punch flavor of Mountain Dew Kickstart.
We're definitely not getting paid for this.
No, not at all.
We actually legitimately aren't, and I wasn't kidding when I said I spilled it.
Where did you spill it?
But you know,
that
Mountain
is the question.
Dew, if you want to talk, I'll listen there, Mountain Dew.
Can we all just take a quick moment to talk about just how weird, just how weird the WWE superstars and divas just talk lately? Because like the whole Natalia thing with Subway, man, that was painful. And then it was R-Truth talking, oh, you won't see me and Goldust have an episode of WWE Ride Along on the WWE Network. It's like, man, who talks like that?
You know, I get the Subway ads or whatever, because you know they'll every once in a while they just shoehorn those commercials in there. At least it's like they're getting paid to do that. But when they keep shoehorning in the network shows and stuff, you know, even the New Day talked about the Edge and Christian show, right? It's so forced, and they always have to say on the WWE Network. I mean, even if R-Truth was just like, oh, that's like an episode of Ride Along or something, it's a little bit smoother than when they have to go Ride Along on the WWE Network.
This is almost worse than the $9.99 campaign.
Yes and no, because while the $9.99 campaign was poor for the most part, you have to remember, like, Triple H started a $9.99 chant in an arena one time, so there is a way to do it well. Maybe it's the writing, maybe it's the actual, like, execution, but there is a disconnect somewhere down there.
Yeah, but even if there's a disconnect, at least with that, they were blatantly obvious. But here, it's like storylines are being interrupted to just plug a show on the network in almost every single segment. Imagine we're just having a casual conversation. Hey, Ryan, how are you doing? Like, we should totally go over to
I'm doing
Byte
great
check out
because I'm
Fight
drinking
Night.
this Mountain Dew Kickstart, Maggle. And
Really, Ryan, do you also have a Mountain Dew Kickstart that you quite very much enjoy? Because I as well have a Mountain Dew Kickstart.
My favorite part about Mountain Dew Kickstart is on the can, it literally says electrolytes for taste.
Guys, we should almost have a square roundtable about that.
Like?
I don't know, but we can have a square roundtable on the YouTube channel about that.
True.
If people just like and subscribe. Like, I know this sounds painful, but this is exactly what's happening on Raw, and that's really getting to me because it's progressively getting worse.
This is actually going to be a relevant transition, but there has been a lot of product placement. I would like to also point out that this drink is only 80 calories for an energy drink, which is pretty crazy. And 19 sugars,
that is true.
Which for an energy drink is a hell of a deal.
But what is the serving size?
Can, the serving size is 1 can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it actually is. And according to the side of the can, it has just the right amount of kick.
Guys, we have given Mountain Dew just too much. Yeah. They gotta pay us to talk about that any further. Okay, so here's the deal. We have a podcast. Usually there's an agenda. WrestleMania season is live. That means that a lot of things are scheduled to change. We had the rumor that Triple H was possibly going to defend the title before WrestleMania, which seemed ludicrous, right? And now, lo and behold, we have an event over in Canada, Keith, in Canada. WWE Roadblock. There is literally a roadblock on the fast lane to WrestleMania.
Well, the fast lane's over, and we've slowed down to a roadblock.
Yeah, apparently not, because the roadblock is 2 Saturdays from now. So the roadblock's still not there.
When it's a long trip, you're going to start out, you're on the highway, you're going to go all the way to the left lane, you're going to go start in the fast lane, but once you're getting closer to the exit, you start going into the slower lanes. So we're out of the fast lane now, but we just hit a roadblock, or we're going to very soon. So it makes perfect sense.
On the road to WrestleMania, wouldn't a roadblock be the worst possible thing? Because now you're just at a dead stop. You can't drive on the highway anymore because there's something blocking the road. Maybe it's a semi that tipped over, jackknifed or something.
After this, we need the detour special so that we can actually get to WrestleMania.
Those are the live events. That is the detour. And somehow A-Train gets involved into this, and he comes back derailing things. I don't know. This is getting out of hand. The point is that...
Watch Ride Along on the WWE Network.
Yeah. That too. Oh man. Oh my God.
This has been the most sellout opening of our show ever.
I'm in pain right now. Okay, here's the deal. Triple H, Dean Ambrose. This feels like the main event for WrestleMania. If he just took out a roadblock.
Wait, this isn't the main event for WrestleMania?
No. Okay. Yeah. Guys, WWE did not change the main event for WrestleMania. It is now leading up to the most questionable show. This whole roadblock thing, like, let's be semi-serious about this now in some way. We just had Fastlane, and with Fastlane we said this show was largely unnecessary. It's just a way to stall time. But then here we have this network special that's going to be happening over on Canada, not this Saturday, the next one. That's March 12th, I believe.
Yep,
it is. Yeah, March 12th. And this show is already being built up more than Fastlane, and it has matches that should have maybe been in Fastlane. Do you guys like the fact that we have this roadblock before WrestleMania, or what?
Well, Triple H versus Roman Reigns is a super appealing main event, so I'll give them that. And whoever originally, I'm assuming that this is a recent
You mean Dean
development.
Ambrose?
You said Roman Reigns.
Did I say Roman Reigns? Oh, okay.
Hey, you like it?
Yeah, I know. I'm just looking forward to it so much. But I'm assuming this roadblock thing is a relatively recent development. Like, this wasn't some big plan that they had months ago. They just decided to go along with this. So whoever got those live event tickets to that show really lucked out, because they're going to get an awesome show from what it seems like. It seems like a cool way to keep things interesting until Mania, because they want to, for some reason, keep Roman Reigns out of the picture for a little bit. And also, with Ambrose feuding with Lesnar, Lesnar's not going to be at every single show. So it kind of gives Ambrose something to do in the meantime as well. and you kind of give Triple H a match before his big WrestleMania main event. When like Triple H is in a featured match at WrestleMania, I don't think it's as big of a deal that he's not wrestling until then. But when he's the champion, he should probably at least have one match before he goes into Mania. So I actually really like this.
But at the same time, WrestleMania is their biggest show of the year. Why are you taking time out of building WrestleMania towards building this other show? Like, when it comes to WrestleMania, it should be all steam ahead. Just keep building and building and building till you have these epic matchups and this epic card where everybody's just ready and excited at WrestleMania. So now you're taking time away from that to build Roadblock. You're creating a roadblock on the road to WrestleMania, and that part I don't understand.
Okay, I have questions for both of you. There's two parts. One, context. Keep in mind what happened with Daniel Bryan, right? The main event of WrestleMania was changed. The match with Triple H was added. Triple threat match to main event the show. That's one thing, right? But on the other hand, are they almost double dipping on the whole Dean Ambrose thing? Because the whole joke in our conversation here was that, okay, Fastlane is going to happen. And that is just to get Dean Ambrose over enough so whatever he does after the show is going to be a fun match at WrestleMania. But now here they are just straight up giving him a title shot, having a segment on Raw with Triple H, and completely, just ridiculously overshadowing Roman Reigns in any way. Like, I just, and don't get me wrong, I like this because this is the sort of fantasy booking type things that we brought up as a joke. But now WWE are doing this, but do you think that they're actually going to have this match happen, have Dean Ambrose lose yet again with a high stakes scenario, and then just have Roman versus Triple H just like on the side when they just came off the show?
Yeah, I mean, although Ambrose has been absolutely fantastic recently, and his interaction and everything they did, but, you know, Triple H and Ambrose had an amazing build-up, and I'm really looking forward to this match. But as far as it pertains to Roman Reigns versus Triple H, it's really stealing any remaining thunder that Reigns had, and it's just kind of really highlighting how much more entertaining it is to watch Ambrose feud with Triple H than it is to watch Reigns feud with him. So it is kind of questionable, especially considering the fact that Ambrose gets his ass beaten like to high hell and still shows up. You know, he drives a damn ambulance back to the arena, and then Roman Reigns gets one broken nose and he's on the shelf. You know, he's not even showing up to Raw. So it's very questionable if they really want us to like Roman Reigns that much, why they're making him look really weak. I mean, isn't it all about making Roman look strong?
Yeah. No, it is totally weird. And as far as the double dipping part goes, I think they're absolutely doing that. We were even saying before Fastlane, like, okay, this is the Dean Ambrose time. And then after this is done, we're going to move to the Roman Reigns show. But once they moved to the Roman Reigns show, they found out, oh, maybe this isn't as good as we thought it was going to be. So they're almost using Dean Ambrose in a way to make Roman look strong. But as far as, do you think Dean Ambrose is going to lose in this match? I don't think this match is going to have a winner. It's going to have some sort of funky finish or something like that. Because they can't.
Lesnar is supposed to be at this event.
They can't have either of them lose on the way to WrestleMania. Because if Dean loses, okay, and then he has to go up against Brock Lesnar and get beat again, where that doesn't really make a lot of sense
either. It almost
either.
Brings up a scary thing. Could the WWE be, and there's no other way to describe it, ballsy enough to have Dean Ambrose win the title, and the main event at WrestleMania is now Dean Ambrose versus Brock Lesnar, no holds barred for the championship? Hey, I know it seems ridiculous, but this match itself seems ridiculous, right?
Juan, we need to have a talk. It's time to let the Fastlane dream go.
No, they're doing this. Okay, so what? Okay, here's the last thing then. Is WWE using this as a gateway to get the crowd to shut up at WrestleMania? Because when you bring up historic examples like Zack Ryder, etc., when the person does not have that match that people want them to have, they will start chanting nonstop. Now WWE can go maybe, well, Dean Ambrose got his title match before WrestleMania, so can we please move on now? Maybe they're going to try and kill those chants by having this?
I think it's more of a way to make it so they're basically doing damage control in the way that, they don't want to make booing Roman look cool. Because last week you had Triple H beat up Roman Reigns. Everybody cheered Triple H, and now Roman is gone. So now by taking Roman off TV and focusing on Ambrose, they're creating less scenarios where that becomes the case. So it's almost like, we know that you like Ambrose, you can have him, but we really want Roman to like be the good guy. So have your thing, forget about the whole everybody cheered Triple H thing. We're going to build Triple H up as the bad guy because he's going to beat up Ambrose, this guy you like so much. And then, hey, maybe you'll cheer Roman because
it's
by
sad
proxy.
It's sad that they have to do it this way, but it seems like the entire purpose of this is, all right, Roman Reigns isn't working the way we want him to, so let's just take him out of the picture. We're going to bring in the guy you like against the guy we want you to hate. So now Triple H on this Raw, it's like night and day. Last week, Roman's getting booed and Triple H is getting cheered. This week, Triple H does a very similar beatdown. Ambrose is cheered and Triple H is booed. So let's throw Reigns out of the picture, get you to dislike Triple H, we'll get you behind Dean Ambrose, then we're going to put Ambrose in a situation, some sort of bad situation with maybe Brock Lesnar and Triple H beating him down, and then we have Roman Reigns be the white knight that's going to come in so that maybe people are going to cheer for Roman Reigns. That's probably what they're doing.
And it's painful because there was an interview where Roman Reigns said, I'm not John Cena. I'm not anything like him. But this is exactly the type of scenario where you put in John Cena, which almost brings up the thing we may bring up next week. What about John Cena? He's been sending out these tweets, trying to defy science and all these things now. And there is a chance that we may get John Cena at WrestleMania or maybe a Roadblock. But I guess we got to give our predictions show next week. So however it is that this show unfolds, whether it be on SmackDown, then Raw, is NXT going to have a showing? Maybe like they did with Beast in the East. That's a possibility. We will wait and find out. Now, we go from one questionable thing to a painful one. Guys, Lana is finally going to unfold in her very own rivalry. This is not a love triangle, but it does involve love. And it is with Brie Bella. Not the love with her, but, talking about her husband.
There's probably enough fan fiction for that.
That is true. But apparently this is a feud that may be leading to Roadblock. It seems like the perfect scenario to have this here and not at WrestleMania unless we have some kind of multi-diva match happen at WrestleMania. Team Bella versus Team Lana. Do you guys care about this in any way, especially when Lana continues to have the accent? And I don't understand why. Did you guys notice? I don't know if you even know about this. WWE posted on their Facebook page a video of JoJo interviewing Lana completely off character because they were doing this whole reading initiative to get children to read books. And then Lana's just talking about her favorite books, completely off accent. Like that was just her. So at this point, just get rid of it. Why are you riding this train? It is blocking the road to just a successful thing.
How many road and street references are we going to have?
Is Cody Rhodes coming back? This is it. This is Cody Rhodes' return.
Roadblock. Oh my God, they could do
Rhodes Block.
They could do Road RHODE Roadblock.
Road
right.
Dogg's still employed.
Yeah. But Billy Gunn isn't. That feels bad. Anyway, Lana and Brie. So Lana, it seems like this is going to lead to her first match ever. But I feel like all the hype behind Lana has just completely gone. And
a long
now
time ago.
Just nobody cares. And Brie,
man,
if Lana's not really super experienced at wrestling, is Brie really the person you want as your first opponent?
No.
Yes.
Unless you want...
That kind of leads to my feelings on this match. It's probably going to be a disaster.
Exactly. Okay, back to the analogies. This match is going to be such a disaster that's what they have to clean up on the highway on the road to WrestleMania. So maybe this match is the roadblock.
Now you're really just forcing it, man.
I know, that was a stretch.
So
but
this is roadkill.
This is roadkill.
Oh my god.
Swing. If this becomes a match, I cannot wait for it. I cannot wait for it in the way that I just want to watch the world burn, though, because I think it's going to be terrible. And as far as do I seriously care about it? No, not really. But to go back to your point, Ryan, a little bit, what a difference a year makes. Think about where Lana was this time last year. You could argue that she was one of the most hated people in the company story-wise. Her and Rusev were just on fire.
They came out on a tank.
And now they came out on a tank. And here they are. One of them is in a league and the other one just sucks.
It's a painful thing, and it seems really shoehorned in there because now that we have so many divas actively involved in the title scene, you can have a bunch of different feuds. You have Naomi involved in there, right? There is enough happening where Lana is just irrelevant, and now you bring her in. Maybe this is the goodbye feud for Brie Bella, but even then it seems just odd. The crowd,
what a stinker of a goodbye
even
feud.
The crowd was just sort of oh, okay. It was kind of silent because Lana is not the character that she was. The moment she wore Jean texture or whatever the hell
she wore
skirts.
A Canadian tuxedo, basically.
Yeah, the moment that she aligned herself with Dolph Ziggler, any legitimate reason to care about Lana was gone.
Keith's giving me a weird look, but they call
what's a Canadian tuxedo?
When you wear a jean jacket and jeans, it's called a Canadian tuxedo.
But,
sorry,
really? I've never heard that
for years. Anyway,
okay. Stupid Yankee.
Canadian learned something about Canadianism. Canadianism.
Is that a religion? I don't even know.
Okay, guys. So let's now. This is one of those episodes where we sort of have a state of the WWE type episode, right? We've talked about the possibility of Triple H and Ambrose. Now we talked about Lana and Brie. Up next, this is unfolding into what could possibly be a match at WrestleMania, or maybe just a special match. It's scheduled to be a tag team title match next week on Raw, which will probably become some sort of rematch for Roadblock. It is the New Day on one side and Y2AJ on the other. Let's get to that second part first because AJ Styles, people think, showing up, immediately gonna go for either the IC title, WWE title, tag team titles. Even though it's with the New Day, which is still one of the hottest things going on in the WWE, do you guys like that? Or do you think that maybe this could cause AJ to lose some steam?
I don't know. This just screams Jericho's going to turn on AJ and lead to another singles match to me. I don't really see it going. Even if it becomes a rematch for Roadblock, I see Jericho turning on AJ and then maybe another WrestleMania match. I don't know. I don't see it as anything beyond a one-time thing.
Yeah, this I completely agree with Keith because AJ hasn't really started a new singles feud and he's tagging with Jericho now. It's totally going to lead to Jericho turning heel, and then it leads to a WrestleMania match. I actually see, going fantasy book a little ahead of myself, I could even see something like a submission match at WrestleMania because you got the Walls of Jericho versus the Calf Crusher. So it perfectly lines up for that because they've had a bunch of singles matches. You got to think it's going to lead to some sort of stipulation. And, there's already a Hell in a Cell and a street fight. So I feel like that would be a nice way to do it without, kind of standing on its own. But yeah, I think the title match, I don't think they said it was going to be at Roadblock. It was going to be
it's going to be on Raw.
Yeah, it's going to be on Raw next week.
But that'll probably have a shoddy finish and then lead to Roadblock.
Yeah, very good chance. Very good chance. But yeah, I don't think anyone thinks that they're going to be some sort of staple tag team that's going to last a couple months to a year. It's definitely a short-term thing to lead to a Mania singles match.
I like that, though, because AJ has noticeably used the Styles Clash almost nothing, to the point where Jericho even kicked out of it, right? And he's been using the Calf Crusher, which Jericho tapped out to. Jericho used the Walls of Jericho on Raw, and usually we'd see the Codebreaker for that type of match. So having a submission match at WrestleMania would actually be really cool. It wouldn't be too different because they're already ending the matches like that, but just adding that element to the mix. Or, you can get the code breaker, but then you still got to do the Walls to Jericho.
Yeah, the fact that it has to end with the submission does change the game a bit.
Yeah, so I would totally like to see that, and it seems to be the thing that they're going towards. And it's crazy. This can almost come full circle. Jericho had the WrestleMania 19 match with Shawn Michaels, right? And that was like sort of Jericho's defining moment, one of his favorite matches. And now he's sort of in the Shawn Michaels spot, if you think about it, taking on AJ. Even though the ages are not really the same. AJ is by no means a young guy here in the WWE. But you get the point, right? Like, it's this guy.
Neither was Jericho at that time, really.
Yeah. So far, I have to say I'm really liking how WrestleMania is turning out, because we have this potential submission match, we have the no holds barred match, we have the Hell in a Cell match, which now we're going to get to. Initially, when it was announced, a lot of people, us included, were confused as to just why would Undertaker magically agree to this match? Is he going to say anything to sort of screw Vince McMahon over? And just a quick side note, I don't know if you guys have seen these, but Shane McMahon has been posting videos on Facebook about his training.
Oh, they're all great.
Man,
I love them.
That guy. Did you see the video where, like, after the training, he was stretching his legs and you saw the muscle? Just like,
yeah.
Man, that was nasty looking.
You get a little too excited there, Juan. I did see the
I'm with Juan on this one. Shane is a jacked
kick,
man.
or whatever, his flippy kick thing.
He's like Eddie Gordo or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, we finally got the Undertaker.
That's 2 weeks in a row. By the way, no.
What?
That's 2 weeks in a row you've made a Tekken reference, or we've made a Tekken reference.
Yeah,
This needs to stop.
The references are all over the place this episode, man. Tekken is not the only thing.
Martial law is where it's at, yo.
Yeah, I'm more of a King guy myself. Well, we should like King the most, ideally. Anyway,
Puppies.
Undertaker.
Puppies!
Oh my god, I love you guys. Okay, Undertaker. He finally comes out, and we think that he is about to maybe defy what Vince McMahon has scheduled or sort of go against it. But really, he just says the blood of your son is going to be on your hands. So he's just accepting the fact that this match is happening at WrestleMania. A little weird for me. We haven't had a chance to talk about this before the episode, so I want to get your thoughts, starting with Mr. McNulty. What do you like that he's just sort of okay with it?
Yeah, all right. Well, I want to do a little quick game here. First, I'm going to tell you how I actually feel about it, and then we should try and all come up with a kayfabe explanation as why Undertaker's cool with it.
Go for it.
Anyway, yeah, I think all of us really have, hold the Undertaker character in very high regard. So it seems like he's kind of above the law in a lot of ways in WWE. So it just seems very weird for him to just kind of be cool with this. Like, he's just following Vince McMahon's orders, which, I mean, when's the last time we've even seen Undertaker and Vince on WWE TV together? It's probably been quite a long time.
Probably since the end of Biker Undertaker, really. Like that, their Survivor Series.
Probably during the brand split era when Vince was GM, right? And was Taker on SmackDown at that point?
Yeah, that's when he was Biker Taker, and that led up to that
but either
Survivor
way,
Series
it's like,
match,
you know what I mean?
Buried Alive.
Undertaker, unless it's Paul Bearer with the urn, like, I was expecting to see an urn. Like, Vince was going to bust it out, and that's how he had Undertaker under his command. But instead, he's just like, if I kill him, it's on you.
Yeah, it's weird. The reasoning is... It's not well developed. Maybe something's going to turn around or something like that. But one positive I will say is I got hyped when Vince McMahon was introducing The Undertaker. Like, okay. Where he's like, he's my destructive force. He's my Undertaker. And then The Undertaker came out. That was awesome. But yeah, as far as reasoning, like, there's no reason for The Undertaker to be in this match other than he just wants to fight somebody at WrestleMania. But then why does he want to fight somebody at WrestleMania?
It's sacrificing character integrity for plot, basically.
Pretty much.
Well, Keith actually brought up an interesting point. Maybe Undertaker does just want to be the guy that is Mr. WrestleMania, regardless of wins or losses. What if later on it becomes down to a dude, you just cannot wrestle, and everybody's acknowledging it, but Undertaker's like, nope, like, I'm the dead man, like, this is what I'm doing, I'm the phenom, and that's sort of how he goes out. It's almost the contrary to what I said last week, where I don't want him to be the charity case, but with what we heard and saw on Raw, that does seem to be it. He's just happy to have a match at WrestleMania. I like the fact that we have weeks to go until WrestleMania, so this can become more personal. I'm just really hoping that this is not the only time we get Undertaker before that, and I'm hoping we also get a stare down between Shane and Taker, because if that doesn't happen, yeah, it better happen, because if it doesn't, then there's a missing element. You know, even Bray Wyatt struggled, but at least his character was out there. But Shane's a human being. Like, his character is that he's a McMahon, and that's it, right? So hopefully something happens there. And
well, now, kayfabe, is that your kayfabe explanation?
Yeah, that's my kayfabe explanation now.
Okay. I think mine, real quick, is basically Undertaker sees kind of Hell in a Cell as his domain. So if he's in the Hell in a Cell and someone else enters it, he's going to destroy them, basically.
So we're basically saying that Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker in Hell in a Cell a couple months ago never happened.
Oh.
Well, no, he tried to destroy Brock Lesnar.
Failed, but he tried.
Yeah.
What do you think, Keith? What
if you
is
had to
the logical
explain away,
reason?
if you had to do WWE's job to rationalize this,
to go back to what Juan said, like, yeah, it's just The Undertaker at WrestleMania. It's like WrestleMania's his show. He wants to be at WrestleMania. Almost, yeah, you could almost see it going the way of the charity case, where maybe in a couple of years, like, oh, here comes The Undertaker again. I guess this is the Undertaker part. But yeah, beyond that, kayfabe wise, it would have made sense. Like, we were talking a bit about it last week, where maybe it was just like a loyalty to Vince McMahon thing. And even on commentary, they were playing that up a bit, where like Vince McMahon was the general in the Monday Night War and The Undertaker was the gunslinger that won him the battle and stuff like that. But once The Undertaker got in the ring, it kind of threw all that out the window. That angle would have made sense, but yeah.
How are you guys feeling about WrestleMania now? We have enough matches announced, like you want, Keith, where you can have an idea of how this is going to turn out. Is your excitement level, would you compare it to more or less than last year's show?
It's interesting the way that I'm currently feeling about WrestleMania, because I am excited for WrestleMania, but the thing I am most excited for was something that they didn't even build up really on Raw, and that's Dean Ambrose versus Brock Lesnar. Like, that is what I am most excited for. All the other matches kind of take a backseat to that, but yeah, I guess overall, yeah, I am excited for WrestleMania.
I'm definitely more excited than I was last year, because there wasn't a whole hell of a lot of hype going into last year's WrestleMania. It ended up being good, but the hype level was pretty bad. This time around,
that is true.
Between Ambrose and Lesnar and Shane and The Undertaker, those are two very, very intriguing matches that are enough to really have me hyped up for this. So I'm definitely way more hyped this year than I was last year.
I agree completely. This has a chance to be the biggest WrestleMania, not just attendance-wise, but we didn't even get a chance to talk about the possibility of a triple threat Divas match at WrestleMania in some form, but that the Divas are finally going to have a spotlight, not just the multi-diva match that we get to see at WrestleMania each year. Everybody may get a chance to shine, and if you officially add Y2J and AJ in a submission match to that list, this is a stacked card for a company that people have said that they're lacking people on the roster. You know, with people being sidelined, this does not include John Cena. Up to this point, this does not include Seth Rollins or anybody else that's on the injured list. So we will talk about it next week. A lot should be happening very soon. So guys, you know the deal. Announcement time over on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/ByteThatCast. I am providing my weekly Lucha Underground reviews. This show is available on the El Rey Network, and if you want other ways to watch it, now there are They are now available on iTunes. You can download and purchase episodes from the first and second season. Now, say you want your fantasy outrageous wrestling and you don't want to pay for it, go to the YouTube channel, watch Fight Night. It is our sexy fantasy wrestling league. We play 2K14. We provide commentary, storylines, murder, kidnapping. All of these things happen there, and you should check that out. At the top of the show, Ryan brought up the fact that our giveaway is ending very soon. March 6th, as a matter of fact, that is this Sunday. The winner will be announced on the March 8th edition of the podcast. That is next week. And sweetening off the pot a bit, you have a chance to be on a video on the channel. We want to highlight some of your favorite collectibles. So once you do everything that Ryan mentioned, which is go over to buythat.com/BTGemmer. Thanks for Gemmer for the sponsor giveaway opportunity. You sign up, you upload your image, and you send us a tweet at ByteThatCast with the hashtag BTGemmer. Send us a link to your account. We will check it out, and we will provide a couple of accounts being showcased on this video. We also have our very own show and tell where we provide our favorite collectibles on the channel, so it's a special time. And guys, remember WrestleMania. Last week we uploaded daily videos on the week of WrestleMania. We are getting ready for WrestleMania week. It's going to be outrageous. It's going to be crazy, and we want you guys to be involved. So if you have any suggestions for things that you would like us to talk about or play at WrestleMania week, whether it be live or it be recorded, just send us a tweet, ByteThatCast, send us an email, ByteThatCast@gmail.com, drop a comment on YouTube, join the family, get involved, and get into the goodness. Now, guys.
And snap into a Slim Jim.
Snap into a Slim Jim. Yeah, and I didn't even say it right, but I'm not going to redo it. Now, you know the deal. Now, we have this week in WWE history. Although, guys, changing things up a little bit, both of the things that are going to be brought up are from the same episode of Raw because they are quite interesting to look back at. This is from the March 4th, 2013 edition of Raw. I put 2003, and he added a 1 to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was an old school Raw. The first thing is that The Undertaker opened up that show because it was an old school Raw, giving that old school feel. Next segment, CM Punk comes out and addresses that he wants to challenge The Undertaker for a match at WrestleMania, leading up to the match that they did end up having. So I want to get your guys' reaction to when you found out that CM Punk was going to challenge Taker, because if I recall correctly, we were sort of like, this felt a little shoehorned at the time, and I want to get your retrospect now.
Was this the Raw where the main event was like a fatal four-way for who got to face The Undertaker, or did that already happen at this point?
I am looking for that right now.
That's how he won it, though, right?
Yeah, because I know Punk won a match for the right to face The Undertaker. It was like him, Randy Orton, The Big Show, and somebody else.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
That match?
Here we go. CM Punk versus Randy Orton versus Big Show versus Sheamus. Winner will face The Undertaker at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's never usually the best way to go about starting an Undertaker feud. It was always cooler when just the superstar themselves wanted to take on the challenge. You know, it wasn't just that, oh, hey, I won the right to do this. It was, this is something personal that I want to overcome, that I want to accomplish. And then, that feud ended up being great anyway. It's kind of weird to say this, but the everything that happened, the death of Paul Bearer really amped up this feud.
It totally did.
And it's sad that it had to be, that it came in those circumstances, but they kind of took a negative and tried to make some positive out of it.
I remember at the time being a little bummed out about this, because this is when you really started feeling like, oh, they're moving away from the CM Punk, John Cena, Rock triple threat main event possibility at WrestleMania, and they put like, oh, okay, who's The Undertaker going to face this year? I guess it's got to be CM Punk because he's not in the main event. So from that angle, at the time, I was a little disappointed, but like you mentioned,
none of us wanted twice in a lifetime. We wanted anything but it, but that's exactly what we got. That is an instance, this is the year before fans kept making changes happen to WrestleMania main events. This was the one where basically we knew since SummerSlam what the hell the WrestleMania main event was going to be. And does that make for a boring year?
Sure does.
Yeah. I remember I thought that this match was okay, and the feud itself, it was shocking because of the Paul Bearer thing, but in the grand scheme of things, I didn't really like it too much because it just felt like, okay, CM Punk is just going to move down a little bit. And, we eventually found out that, CM Punk would leave, all these things had happened over time, but this was the beginning of the end of CM Punk in WWE, if you think about it, at least for me.
Oh, totally. This was basically, this was the end of the whole, Punk was going off his title reign, and this is, to use like a dumb wrestling thing, this is when Punk lost his smile. That's when he went away after the feud, and it wasn't really the same after that, really.
Even just wrestling, you could tell he was being hurt a lot more. He started being a lot more sloppy. He was in less shape. So it was an unfortunate thing, but I wanted to bring it up for scale. That was 3 years ago. Just think about that. This feud began 3 years ago. Now, on the very same edition of Raw, we have a match that I think we've seen recently. The Miz versus Dolph Ziggler. I think we've had this recently. Very close, like this week, I'm thinking, right?
Yes, and
the more things change, the more they stay
back
the same.
then we still had a ton of hope for Dolph Ziggler. It's when he was with AJ and Big E. They kind of had that trio. Big E didn't really know what he
had
was
the Money in the Bank briefcase at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Big E hadn't really kind of found his place yet. But they were a cool little trio, and after Ziggler lost that title, it was all downhill from there.
Yeah, that part had hope, right? But let's talk about The Miz. We forget that at one point, The Miz was being mentored by Ric Flair, and he adopted the figure 4 leg lock as his finisher. And this was that Miz.
Was he babyface at this point? Because he had he was babyface by WrestleMania.
Yes,
they were trying.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody can really say The Miz has ever been babyface, but if there was a time where WWE experimented with that was it here, and he actually won this match with the figure 4 leg lock. And this is what
he Intercontinental Champion at this point as well?
I honestly
or did
don't
he know
know.
he won the title at WrestleMania?
Or no, wasn't Wade Barrett? Was Wade Barrett?
Yeah, Barrett. No. Barrett was Intercontinental Champion. Miz won it at WrestleMania, and then Barrett won it back the night after, or something like that.
Close enough, yeah.
Something. Yay, fact check.
They were trading it back and forth.
Yeah, Ric Flair, mentor, figure 4. Did you ever think that was a good idea, or that could be turned into something good?
It's funny that he was facing Dolph Ziggler, who probably should have had Ric Flair as his mentor. That would have been a lot more fitting. I'm glad that whole thing blew over.
Yeah, it never clicked with that. Miz had a really sloppy figure 4, and it never improved, and that's probably why they eventually dropped it.
That was a good choice.
The skull-crushing finale is a cool finisher. I like the skull-crushing finale. It's one of those, it's not like RKO levels of out of nowhere, but Miz can just hit it. And that makes a good finisher.
It's a cool move, but I don't think that The Miz is big enough to just make it look impactful. It just sort of looks like the other guy drops. I like when Jericho did the breakdown, which is basically the same move, but Jericho would have it be like a driver move, like directly to the head. The Miz's skull-crushing finale is more like just landing flat, and that seems kind of comfortable. It seems like it'd be a nice move to take in some way.
Well, now that you mention it, it's no stroke from Jeff Jarrett, but what is really?
I'm nope, not going there. Okay, so let's take a quick second here. Primarily you, Keith. We have both been watching the collections on the network. Ryan has not had the chance to do so. So Keith,
I like how I didn't tell you one way or the other, but you assumed I didn't. But you're correct.
After 11 years, you kind of figure things out. Okay.
Feels bad, man.
I just wanted to take a moment in this week's show to promote these WWE Network collections. Juan told me about them a while ago and finally checked one out this weekend, and they're awesome. Like, they just pick a topic and then just go to town on it. So the one that I watched was Brock Lesnar's run-up to his first WWE Championship reign, where they go into just detail from Brock Lesnar's debut all the way to his match with The Rock. And it's a crazy amount of detail. They go into his debut, when he moved over to SmackDown, when he basically ended Hulk Hogan's career, just a bunch of crazy stuff. And you find these fun little details, like in the match where he interferes and takes out the Hardy Boys. The Big Boss Man was in that match.
Crazy to think about, yeah.
I totally forgot that the Big Boss Man would have been around in 2002. But yeah, they're really cool. They've got a couple of other collections on there. I know there's a Daniel Bryan one. I believe it was either yesterday or today they mentioned that they were going to bring up a Shane McMahon's.
Yeah, that's actually up. They actually have two new ones. The Legacy of Shane McMahon, the Four Horsewomen, which I think is great. Best of WWE Network,
nice.
Best of Stone Cold, the Canadian collection, a TLC collection. So how does this work on the network, right? It's not like you just hit play and you get all of these. It's a playlist. So, like, if you go to TLC Tag Teams, you just see all of the TLC matches. So you can watch them without having to skip to certain parts of the show.
So that right there would be my one knock about this collection series, because, okay, I watch the network on an Apple TV, and after every single clip, even if it's a minute long, I get the whole, watch the Edge and Christian show every Monday after Raw, then the do of the network. So in a hour and a half span, I'd probably seen it 10 times while going to the Brock Lesnar thing. So that got a bit annoying. Maybe it's different not on the Apple TV. I don't know.
It's the same on the website, and that is unfortunate. In my case, I was watching this while doing DDP yoga, and that's horrible because I have DDP yoga on my tablet, but then on my TV I have this. So every time I gotta stop DDP yoga, I gotta move over to my computer.
Seems very inconvenient.
Yeah, after a while, it was just like, man.
It doesn't even autoplay?
No, it doesn't autoplay. And that is the simplest feature you think a playlist would have. In theory, this is what the network should be from day one. Like, give me the highlights or let me relive the evolution or the build up to this match. And like with the Brock Lesnar thing, great. Now can it just play? That would be great.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, just wanted to give this a shout out because it's a really cool thing on the network. If you haven't checked it out, you should, because they should make more of them. And if more people watch them, maybe they'll make more of them and everybody's happy. So that's my plug in a show full of plugs.
Yeah, definitely. And a good question would be, and maybe even for you, Mr. McNulty, I'm going to throw this to you and to everybody else that's listening. What would you like to see a collection of on the network? Whether it be a collection of matches like the TLC one that's there, whether it be for a superstar, whether it be to the build up to a match. What would you like to see, Ryan? And for those listening, drop us a tweet or YouTube or email, all that good stuff.
Yeah, how about not just matches, but promos? Maybe a best promos of certain guys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like with The Rock, I could see that. Like The Rock's the greatest microphone.
Promo, best Austin, or even just segments. And not, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be just them on the mic. You can have all Austin's moments, all The Rock's moments. Stuff like that could be cool. So you can have the matches and the things. I kind of like them separate, so depending on what you're in a mood for.
Something crazy would be like highest rated segments. They actually have a playlist of the highest rated segments in wrestling history. And that would be great. That would be a great conversation piece, right? To just show like this was the highest rated segment and not like this amazing match that happened on that episode. Stone Cold and The Rock would probably just be all over the place in this.
It would be interesting to see year by year what the highest rated segment was, though.
I don't know if they would want to do that for certain years, though.
Yeah, when they show the numbers slowly dwindling every year.
But it creates a window of opportunity to especially highlight, like there's a lot of stuff on the network, just too much. And this is their way of sort of, just letting you know what's out there. And if you want to see the whole thing, then you can do that. So guys, now it is time for questions. You guys ask and we will do our best to answer. Remember, you can send us a tweet with the hashtag AskBT. Send us an email, bytethatcast@gmail.com. Drop a comment on YouTube. Wherever it is that we are, we will look at your question and it may be on the show because we're getting a lot of them. They are consistently growing. So without further ado, Mr. Keith, take it away.
Alrighty. Well, to start our little question fun, super extravaganza happy time,
3D.
we got a question, 3D. We got question from Robert J. Hey guys. Been listening to the show for about 5 months now and have not missed a single podcast. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you, sir. Here's my question. Right now, who would be best for business to win the Money in the Bank briefcase and potentially become the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion?
Dean Ambrose, probably. Maybe Kevin Owens.
That's my pick. Kevin Owens by far, but those are two incredible. Oh man, Dean Ambrose would be good though, right?
Yeah, I
Dean
think
Ambrose would be good, but that's the easy pick.
Yeah,
I think.
well, the whole craziness, Ambrose Asylum, he's so out of control that I feel like
you never know when he'll cash in.
He could do some interesting things with it, and Owens is another pick too. But do they want to make him champion within the calendar year, starting in whenever it is, June or July?
I'm just going to throw this out there.
Or you could lose.
I want to hear reactions. What if John Cena actually wins the Money in the Bank briefcase?
It would be all right, but John Cena's won the Money in the Bank briefcase, and he's done the whole I'm cashing it in ASAP thing already. So I'd like to see somebody new win it. I agree with you with Kevin Owens. I think Kevin Owens could do some really cool things with the briefcase.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I mean, Cena could be cool with the whole I'm going to wait for the perfect opportunity to win my 16th championship, because they got to build up the 16 thing before it happens. That could be a way to do it. I don't think it's the worst idea.
No. So, okay. John Cena goes for his 16th World Heavyweight Championship against Roman Reigns. Who gets cheered?
Oh, man. I think people just turn their backs on the match at that point. Not everybody, but it would be questionable. Although that being said, I'm very surprised. I did not expect that reaction from Ryan. I kind of thought Keith's response would ditto Ryan.
Nope. I've turned my back on the Byte That universe.
No.
What was Ditto's attack in Pokemon? Was it just
Transform?
Transform, yeah. You didn't transform, Ryan. But nonetheless, thank you for the question.
Final form, bro.
Our next one comes in from Philip, who says, first of all, a rest in peace to Philly Chili Evans.
No, wait. Hold on. He said it properly. He said a rip in peace.
Oh, he did too. My apologies. A rip in peace to Philly Chili Evans. I cry every time. But this week, it's Philly the Kid. Hey!
Yeah. Hey, it's the Philly the Kid.
Mamma mia.
Apologies to all Italians out there.
Yeah. But nonetheless, Philly says, I love surprises just as much as the next guy. And this question is all about surprises. In particular, the surprise MVP. I really started with that one. Who do you think is this year's dark horse for WrestleMania?
Dark horse, not the Katy Perry song, but WrestleMania.
Well, he uses some examples here about like Cesaro winning the Battle Royal, or like Mick Foley in his WrestleMania moments. I assume maybe the match with Edge, with the flaming table.
Because he doesn't really have any others at WrestleMania.
Here's the deal. It almost has a second question.
Has an unexpected big performance, I think, is what he's going with.
Yeah, but with the matches that we have right now, like think of the scope.
It's
almost every match has like a double A to triple A superstar. So like,
I find it very easy.
Okay, what's
it's
your
Dean
answer?
Ambrose. Dean Ambrose is going to be the breakout star this year's Wrestling. Well, in comparison, when you've got him like with Brock Lesnar, Triple H, them trying as hard as they can with Roman Reigns, you've got the Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell against Shane McMahon.
But you're battling Brock Lesnar.
But while Dean Ambrose is a big deal, does he really does he hang on that level? Because, Dean Ambrose kind of has that thing where he could fall down the card at any moment. Let's be real here. So I think that Dean Ambrose has he has the best possibility to have the best performance, almost the same way that Seth Rollins had his big performance at WrestleMania last year, even without the cash-in.
Okay, just to get technical, I actually looked up the definition of dark horse. Just to clarify this. A candidate or competitor about whom little is known, but who unexpectedly wins or succeeds. Dean Ambrose is not a dark horse.
Okay, then yes,
Right.
Dean Ambrose is not a dark horse.
I kind of agree with Keith, though, because in the WWE...
Do you agree with me disagreeing with me? Because I just disagreed with myself.
All right. Well, no, I'm agreeing with what you disagree. Yeah, I'm agreeing with what you disagree with. I don't even know what that means. Okay. I agree with what you said before you disagreed with it. And I'm done with it. I'm done with it. Okay. But let me explain here. If Vince McMahon was looking at the WrestleMania card, he would probably look at Dean Ambrose as a dark horse. To us as wrestling fans, as hardcore wrestling fans, we look at it and we're expecting a breakout performance by Dean Ambrose. I would say that this might be a question we have to revisit when we see the full card, because right now it's the big money matches that are kind of locked in right now, so it's very hard to pick a true dark horse. But for now, I feel like it has to be Dean Ambrose, because what is Triple H, is Brock Lesnar, is Roman Reigns, are they dark horses? We don't have too many matches locked in yet to really truly give you a good answer.
I'm actually going to give a temporary answer based on what has been happening. I'm going to say it's League of Nations. Because we know about these four guys before the league, but the whole thing this time has been like, so what it is they want to do? Like, what is their purpose? We don't have that. So there's anybody at WrestleMania that could maybe have something happen and have a good performance. It's them, because they have the talent in ADR and Sheamus, etc. But aside from that, I don't really see a dark horse.
Anyone else notice Sheamus growing out his beard?
Yeah,
he looks kind of like Elmo with it like growing. Just take a look at him again.
What if Eric Rowan grows a mohawk? They just switch characters and nobody ever finds out.
So would it be upside down Sheamus or upside down Rowan at that point?
I have a small headache thinking about that.
Indeed, and just as a little side point to this question, we still don't know what both mid-card champions are doing at WrestleMania yet, really. So. This is Kevin Owens' first WrestleMania. I believe it would be Kalisto's first WrestleMania as well. They could have...
That's a dark horse. Because we know very...
But his gimmick is kind of the dark horse, so how dark horse is he really?
Okay, now we're just getting too deep into this.
It's a dark horse deception. We need to move on, folks. Yeah. All right, so thank you, sir, for the question. Our next one comes in from the Cynical Cypher, who asks... What would happen if Medusa, and we're talking about the mythical creature lady, not the trash belt person, were to stare...
I thought you were going to go somewhere else with that.
I was just laughing because that is the most like accurate yet out of context, strange description of a person. But continue.
Right? Okay, so what were to happen if Medusa were to stare at Dwayne Johnson? So I think he would going by what Medusa does, he'd turn into a stone person, right?
Yeah, well, yes. Normally, the mythical Medusa, if you looked at her, you would turn to stone. But you kind of ruined it where I was going to try and have it be, like, I was going to say WCW Medusa was going to stare at Dwayne Johnson and what would happen.
Well, if it was that Medusa, you just throw Dwayne Johnson in the trash.
You just say, like,
and that would be the end of it.
But anyway, no, Dwayne Johnson, instead of being the Rock, he would become the Stone.
Oh, my head just hurt so much about this.
Did that go over pretty badly?
I get it now. It took me a second. It took me a second. But what if just real Medusa? Wait, Alundra Blaze Medusa. Look at Dwayne Johnson. Would they just like hang out? Like Netflix
I think there would
and
be
chill?
a little bit. There would be some sexual tension there for sure.
Yeah. Probably. I don't know. Okay, so one follow-up question. If Stone Dwayne Johnson were to be
Dwayne
kept,
Johnson? Hey, we don't...
No, Stone.
This is the family-friendly edition, Maggle.
I said Stone Dwayne Johnson. There's a big difference. If he were to be...
Wait, was Stone Dwayne Johnson?
No.
Was that
just
him
let
during
me
the segment,
get through this,
like with Big Show and stuff? Because people thought he was on drugs.
Just let me get through this.
Okay.
If Stone Dwayne Johnson were to be kept at a below room temperature, would he be Stone Cold Dwayne Johnson?
Oh, wow.
Oh, my God.
I'm almost sad I let you continue with that.
The payoff.
payoff.
I'm crying right now.
The money shot is back, folks. Thank you,
it's
sir.
Money shot time.
Oh, my God.
question.
It lives.
It lives. The money shot lives within us all. Our next question comes from NKBE1324, who asks, more WrestleMania themed questions. Yay!
Woo!
What is the least entertaining WrestleMania of all time?
Okay, so I haven't seen a lot of the ones that people say are really crappy, like 11 and I think 11, right? And 9 or something like that.
Yeah, those are down there.
I've heard those are pretty notoriously bad. And even maybe 13 aside from Bret Hart and Stone Cold, right? I don't know. Either way, of the ones that I've watched in full, this kind of pains me to say, but it happened... hit my mic there for a second. It happens to be the one I actually went to. As far as looking at... the experience was great, but as far as actually looking at the matches as they were and how exciting it was as a show fully, WrestleMania 29... was probably one of the lamer WrestleManias. Of course, CM Punk versus Undertaker was a great match. I wasn't too thrilled about Brock Lesnar versus Triple H. It wasn't really that exciting. The main event was not that great. Most of the card was just pretty like Fandango versus Chris Jericho. How does Jericho feel about that match and where Fandango is right now?
Kidding.
You know what I mean?
I totally agree with you.
Underwhelming for WrestleMania. So it sucks that happens to be the only one I've seen live, but I gotta be real with myself. It wasn't that great.
Yeah, I went to 2 WrestleManias in a row, WrestleMania 28 and WrestleMania 29, and man, could they not be more polar opposite shows. WrestleMania 28 was awesome, and 29, it really was kind of a bummer. Besides CM Punk versus The Undertaker, I was so burnt out during that Brock Lesnar Triple H match that I almost fell asleep, which is ridiculous to think about at a WrestleMania. But yeah, that I would say that, or
we never even got the fucking actuals.
Man,
I was bummed out. I thought, hey, it's going to be a Divas match next. I got time to go get some chicken fingers. I'm standing in line for my chicken fingers. All of a sudden, I hear John Cena's music, and I'm like, what the hell?
Were they good, though? Were they worth it?
I didn't get the chicken fingers. Because it was either keep standing in line or miss the main event. I had to make a choice.
You got to get your protein, though.
I went hungry that night, but then I had a nice snack when I got back to the hotel, but that's besides the point.
Starved himself for twice in a lifetime and then realized how not worth it was. You probably should have got the chicken fingers.
You know what? I was probably better off with the chicken fingers.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, well. Yeah, I would say that WrestleMania or WrestleMania 9, there's nothing redeemable about WrestleMania 9. It sucked.
WrestleMania 29, I'm going to agree, but that was not my initial one because, Stone Cold, The Rock, this rivalry has been talked about so much. I mentioned before, I grew up watching WCW. So with the network and DVDs, I started to watch older WrestleManias. And a match that gets brought up a lot is from WrestleMania 15. You see the main event, Stone Cold, The Rock, you think, great. Undertaker versus Big Boss Man, Hell in a Cell. Okay. So why not?
That was not good. Don't even try and talk that
then
one
you
up.
think
that's a Hell in a Cell
then
nobody
you have,
thinks about.
Sable versus Tori. Okay. This is getting hard now.
And we're talking like X-Pac Tori.
What do you mean by hard there,
not
buddy?
Like that, though. Man, we cannot catch a break. Then we have
this is
Brawl
probably the most ridiculous episode of this show we've ever done.
Yeah. But then we have Brawl for All, Owen Hart and Jeff Jarrett versus D'Lo and Test. That's just like, what? This is WrestleMania we're talking about here. D'Lo and Test versus Draws and Godfather. So like we had
You get a Hall of Famer
Hall
in
of
there.
Fame inductee.
yeah, so that's there, and this was a battle royal to determine the number one contenders to the tag titles. So that's why we then had D'Lo and Test again on the show. But it just felt like a lot of ideas that were just thrown together, and they were at this WrestleMania. And aside from basically the top match, Stone Cold The Rock, I cared about nothing else in this show, like just at all.
Which is
for
crazy because
context.
that's supposed to be like right in the middle of like the Attitude Era, you know?
Yeah, and you had Kane versus Triple H, but that match ended in DQ. So it's like, what? This is WrestleMania, and this is one of the few matches that you have that people care about. Kinda.
Remember when the main event of WrestleMania ended in a disqualification? That was great, right?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But thank you for the question. Our next one comes from It's EJ. And they ask, if there were to be a brand split again, who would you have go be the main stars on SmackDown and Raw?
Pick one. If you were to pick one for each, who would it be?
One for each. Okay, John Cena on SmackDown 100%, because that will get people to watch SmackDown. Raw, who else? Who's like the number 2 guy? I mean, I guess Roman Reigns. That's
Roman.
the guy on Raw. That's
Pretty
the guy
much.
you're trying to
I
build.
would say for SmackDown.
Oh, Seth Rollins too. Seth Rollins on Raw.
I would say Seth Rollins on SmackDown. He was going to be my pick for SmackDown. To elaborate a little more, like I talked about it a bit next week. I'm time traveling now too, apparently. But yeah, if they were to do a brand split, I would like to see something along the lines of SmackDown basically becomes mainstream NXT 2.0, where that's where people go when they get called up from NXT onto the main roster, and have Seth Rollins be the top guy of that show. And then once they get big, then they move up to Raw, almost make it a 3-tiered system. As far as the main Raw guy, it'd probably be Roman Reigns.
I'm actually going to say Seth Rollins for Raw, Roman Reigns for SmackDown. You complement that with maybe Cena on SmackDown, Dean on Raw. But basically, because they edit the crowd and whatever to their liking with SmackDown, just have those guys be over there. If they get booed, doesn't matter. You're going to change it anyway, right? So might as well get that out of the way.
Sure enough. But thank you for the question. Our next one comes in from Terrence J., who asks, if the Hardcore Championship were to come back, who do you think should be put in the Hardcore division? And would it be, quote, best for business?
Well, I think the great thing about the Hardcore title is it would give so many lower card guys things to do. Like you could have the social outcasts literally pinning each other like you do the 24/7 rule. They keep stealing the title from each other.
That's it.
And yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, you can do that like R-Truth, Goldust, Stardust, all those guys who just week to week aren't consistently doing something. I would throw every single one of those guys in the mix, and then every once in a while you have a guy a little bit higher on the card who gets involved, and then one of the lower card guys is feuding with them. So it would be cool. I always loved the Hardcore title with the whole no blood thing, and they're trying to be more of a family show. It doesn't have as much of a place, but I think you could still do it and make it fun. It just seems like they're kind of beyond that now, which I think you can make a case for bringing it back, though.
For my guy, I would actually say Big E. Why? Just imagine how he always says 2-time champs. At one point, it just gets to the point like, the 38-time champ, 58-time champ. It just keeps going up and up and up. And actually, even aside from that, it would give him something funny to do, but he would still have to like be paranoid, defend nonstop, not trust anybody. So just anything like the Social Outcast, New Day, that involves more than one person and they maybe not trusting each other, I would love to see that.
Okay, so 2 parts to my answer. Should the Hardcore Championship come back? No, because it wouldn't be what it used to be. It would just be like this watered-down version of the Hardcore title. That should remain a relic of the past. Now, should a championship be reinstated with the 24/7 rule? Absolutely. I think that would be great, especially with the whole social media direction that the WWE is going in. You could totally see like, oh, hey, it's Friday afternoon, and somebody posted on the WWE social media that the title just changed hands at like 2:00 at a Macy's or something like that.
All right, as awesome let me talk here. As awesome as that would be, how good is a 24/7 rule when you know what I mean? If you're pinning somebody at Macy's, it seems like you kind of need a hardcore match because you can't.
Do you though?
I don't know.
You don't need
to make it okay. If there is a singles match in Macy's, like they're just wrestling, they don't use all the fun stuff around them. They're like, oh, I can't hit you with this clothing rack. You know, I don't want to get disqualified in freaking Macy's.
You know, I understand that point, but they shouldn't call it the Hardcore Championship because all of a sudden you're building up
I have it.
What?
I have it. It's okay. Here we go. It is the Network Championship, and the only way you can see it is by watching the live feed on the network, which will be interrupted at any point that the championship is about to switch hands. That is how you sell the network.
So are you saying like there's a 24/7 feed on the champion, and then you can just tune into that
watching
feed?
anything?
Yeah, you just watch the feed. And if something's going on, it'll interrupt the program and
like
show
a
the
network,
live feed.
like breaking network news, and then
they can always, not everyone's gonna catch that, so you can still post on Facebook later, like, hey, look at what happened. The title changed hands,
and that's actually really cool because you never know when it's gonna happen, right? So boom, you're just watching like an episode of Countdown for the 15th time, and all of a sudden, breaking network thing, and then the title changes hands. That's a cool idea.
It will never happen, though.
No,
it's way too much work.
But it's cool.
It is cool.
Just not now.
Yeah. But thank you for the question. Our final question of the show comes from David A., who asks, Can the WWE... Hey, David A.! Once again.
Just... Can WWE get Roman Reigns over with the fans by WrestleMania? If so, how? Keith.
Thank you.
How would you do that?
Just keep him off TV. Don't build Roman Reigns as the good guy. Build Triple H as the bad guy. And I think that's exactly the direction they're going to go. Now, it comes down to the question, will that actually do anything come WrestleMania time? Is the damage already done? It's too cool to cheer or to boo Roman at this point, so I don't think they can accomplish it.
Can the WWE get Roman Reigns over with the fans by WrestleMania? Yes, but will it happen? Probably not. Even if they keep him off TV and do all this stuff with Dean Ambrose, I really think the smarky audience that they are at WrestleMania is still going to boo him regardless, unless there's some sort of miracle that happens. There was actually an interesting article that someone posted on Squared Circle about Roman Reigns' smile and why it doesn't seem authentic, and it's like, you look at pictures of Hulk Hogan and Steve Austin or whatever, and they rarely smiled in the right, only in certain situations or whatever. And it's just like Roman Reigns' facial expressions. Austin's brought it up on his podcast. It's just off. And I think it's, how he carries himself is just not really in line. They even said, Roman Reigns doesn't own a room when he's in it. When Steve Austin comes into an arena, all eyes are on him, and you're just, he owns the room. Reigns just doesn't have that presence yet. Cena, whether people booed him or whatever, Cena still owned a room, and because of that, I just don't think Roman Reigns, no matter what they do, is gonna be over by then. I'm not saying he'll never get over, but in this short span of time, he's just not there yet, and the way that the WrestleMania audience is, they're gonna boo him regardless.
Exactly. People have already made up their minds. WWE can try anything, and they realize it, I think, and that's why we were having this Dean Ambrose match. They can try anything they want, and the people will just still boo him because it's cool, or because they just don't like him, or because they want to go against what WWE wants. For any reason, it's just not a battle they can win. So why even fight it at this point? I think they're just trying to do a little bit of damage control and hoping it's not as bad. But who knows? In a week and a half, we could be talking about a completely different match. So everybody, thank you for the incredible questions. A really fun episode this week. Got a lot of laughs and a lot of Roadblock references. They're gonna be in there. As a matter of fact, right now we have a Twitter battle between Barnables, Wizard of Gore, and some other people, and just coming up with the best/worst names. I'm actually going to bring up a couple here. WWE Rest Stop. How about WWE Detour?
Oh, you don't want to know what happens at WWE Rest Stop.
No, that's a bad place.
No, you have Road Rage, Pedal to the Metal, Horrifying Accident that you can't look away from. I think that name's going a little bit too far. But
I don't think so. I think that's the name for Lana versus Brie Bella.
Okay, so that is the subtitle for that match. But yeah, guys, join the conversation on Twitter, Byte That Cast, and for everything else, there's MasterCard, but we don't have that. But we do have Ryan McNulty, who's going to talk right now.
Did you feel like
Take us
Michael
away.
Cole when you said join the conversation?
Yeah, kinda.
Ryan,
Do you need to throw up now?
a little bit, but Ryan, I need you to do something special for me. This outro needs to be special.
Take the pants
Take
off.
a giant swig of Mountain Dew Kickstart and let it fuel you, give you the kick you need to get through this intro.
Swing a Mountain
power.
Dew Kickstart for the working
Go
man.
for it. He's doing it, people. He's drinking it with his right hand, and I
Oh my
can't see
god,
his
those
left hand.
electrolytes. I'm so energized. So we want to thank you guys for listening to this epic edition of the Byte That podcast. But before we ride our dark horses down the fast lane to WrestleMania until we hit a roadblock, it's time to get a few plugs out of the way. Tried to throw every single gimmick in there. Go to our YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, help us get to 5,000 subscribers. We're getting there, guys. So help us along. To our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ByteThatCast. You can check out our latest videos, including Fight Night, Juan's Lucha Underground reviews. We're going to have some more content up for you. We got multiple videos every week, including this podcast, so make sure you check that out. Also, do not forget about our giveaway. We are giving away a 21-in-1 Undertaker Streak DVD set. It comes in a freaking wooden coffin.
A coffin?
It's pretty awesome. Yeah. And you have until March 6th to enter.
Not a coughing.
So all you have to do is go to bytethat.com/BTGemmer. That's BTGEMR. Follow the details there. You just got to sign up and upload any collectible item to enter. Just make sure you use our link to enter. You can also find us on social media, Twitter @ByteThatCast, Facebook, facebook.com/ByteThatCast, Instagram ByteThat, Wrestling M&O ByteThat. For everything else, you can go to ByteThat.com. So, thank you guys for this sellout edition of the Byte That podcast, and we'll see you next week.
Coffee.
Wheezing! A wooden coughing would actually be really cool.
Painful.
Wait, did I say coughing?
No.
No.
You said-
Oh.
It's good. It's good.
All right.
It's good.
Later.
See ya.
Bye.